Welcome to the Scientific Investor channel, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. In August 2016, Judy Shelton came on CNN and talked about a neutral digital value. Here's what she said.
In terms of a neutral reference point, a global unit of account, something like a gold standard even, updated to reflect a digital world and fast-moving financial flows.
Now, why this is important? Because earlier the same year, this happened. They actually discussed about this in Washington. The Disruptor series, Digital Currency and Blockchain Technology, that was on March 16, 2016. And what they talked inside that, if you go inside, you can actually understand that they were actually talking about something which can provide them with the transparency and trust, in traditionally closed systems. Now, do you think the other networks, other blockchain networks can infuse this there? Personally, I don't think so. Now, it is not only BTC that they are actually talking about. Because if you go through this one, you can actually understand whether using Bitcoin or another one, peer-to-peer digital transaction, have the potential to reduce fees and wait times for consumers. That is what you actually have to quote itself. Whether you're using this one or the other, you should be having the ability to reduce the fees and wait times. Now, yes, BTC maxis can say that's why we have Bitcoin, but you don't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be complicated. You just need to read this. This is the answer, because they another study, which happened after 1 year, say in 2017 April, was global cryptocurrency benchmarking study, and they actually, while comparing all of those, they are actually stating this: only currency which used global consumer ledger, global consensus ledger, instead of blockchain. Now, it was being used by big banks or large banks and money service businesses. Now, why is that so important? Because this is about the monetary system, the finance around the world. So that is key. After another year, in March 6, 2018, Brad talks about liquidity and upcoming regulations. Now, guys, look around you. What's actually happening? Okay, don't look around. Just focus here. Now, this is a tweet from the Cryptic Poet, and he's showcasing that South Korea passes one of the world's first comprehensive cryptocurrencies law. Now, it's not only one country who's looking at digital system, but the next one is Japan. And recently, just a couple of days back, we just saw news about India announcing, the Supreme Court of India just removed the ban which RBI imposed. So, it's country one after another coming out like this. Now, this is a tweet from XRP Steward, and it has a hell lot of information if you actually focus on that.
Anyways, historically, you get to a point where a world currency shows up. It's not going to be, as you said, not going to be Bitcoin or stuff like that.
So you got the point. It's not going to be Bitcoin. It's not going to be something like that, but it's going to be something else. Wow, cool. Okay, anyway, we'll continue.
But do you see them in the aftermath of this coming up with a global currency?
There is a proposal by the IMF.
Okay, now I get that. There is a proposal from the IMF. Now, what do you guys actually think about that? Now, when you actually watch the video, you may have doubts. Okay, they are highlighting some reserve currency, but it's in some other form. But don't worry, I'll explain.
To turn the SDR into the reserve currency per se.
Now, what is SDR? SDR is a supplementary foreign exchange reserve assets defined and maintained by the International Monetary Fund. So the IMF has a proposal, right? Now, why is this relevant now? Because last time this was talked about was during the height of last recession. That's April 5, 2009. During the height of the last global recession. And when we go through the article, we can actually understand that it was one more stimulus for the global economy. One more stimulus for the global economy. You really have to concentrate on that stuff, because currently the central banks are running out of silver bullets to some kind of support the economy in one way or the other. So if you want to answer to this is like 10 years old, ask yourself, how good is our economy right now? At this time, we are in a financial crisis. Now, it's not only my opinion, but if you actually jump into other guys, you can actually see that. This is for your information. Now, this is actually a tweet from Cryptopolis showing that last time this happened was in 2007, before the financial crisis. So in US, it's just getting started. Or you can say, yes, looking at the number of banks who went broke or bankrupt, or acquired by giant banking organizations, you can say, yeah, it has already started. But it's not only that. Jim Rogers, a reputed investor, was on air, which was an interview conducted by the Fidelity Investment. Now, if you guys haven't heard about Fidelity, that's a huge institution in the United States. Now, if you actually go through this, you actually get a lot of information. Say, for example, we'll just play around with what we need at this moment.
Hoping for that. But so when is this going to happen?
Later this year or next.
Later this year or next?
Yeah.
Now, yes, they were asking when is this gonna come, and he's answering like later this year or next. Yes, this happened just 2 years before, and we are kind of close to that deadline, or just surpassed or crossed that deadline. Considering that he just told 2 years, and we haven't just got that recession yet, you can ask the question yourself, where are we in? Are we already in a recession? Are we just booming? The stock markets are going high. Is it like that? Or are we dropping like a stone? Now, yes, if you listen to him further, you'll understand that.
Write it down.
And what will trigger it?
Well, it's interesting because these things always start where we're not looking. In 2007, Iceland went broke. And people said, Iceland, is that a country? They have a market? And then Ireland went broke, and then Bear Stearns went broke, and then, Lehman Brothers went broke. They spiral like that. Always happens where we're not looking. I don't know, it could be an American pension plan that goes broke, and many of them are broke, as you know. It could be some country we're not watching. It could be all sorts of things.
So it can be something where you are not exactly watching out, right? And they talked about the history, what happened previously. Now, I would like to show you two type of individual perspective. Now, one guy is actually showing that Yes Bank, a bank in India, which has a $28 billion in assets, is going bankrupt. So, something is starting there. Another guy from XRP community itself, you can see that from his DP, and he comes out and, states, relax, all in hand, don't worry. And what was it? It's showing SBI to bail out Yes Bank. Now, even if the government says it's okay to acquire a stake at there and solve the situation for the moment, what you have to ask yourself is Ireland still there? Is Iceland still there? Yeah, they are still there, but what you have to understand is this kind of start like this, one after another. It happens in one country after another country. If you actually look at that, previously, when you're looking at that, say you look at a United States, you are getting currently bank closures there in last month or so. If you get that information, you can actually follow Cryptopolis. You actually get that information in his Twitter account. Now it's happening in India, so it's kind of spiraling out. And yes, I also agree that this Indian bank, which just went bankrupt, is a Ripple partner. But that doesn't make them immune just being the partner of a Ripple, the company, because till now they weren't actually able to use the on-demand liquidity tool or the XRP or XRP because they didn't have a regulatory clarity there. Now they are looking at, green light, which just started blowing from the government or the regulatory side. Okay, that means they are blowing that green light towards us, right? Okay, why I used us? Because, we are holders of the digital gold. If you actually read through this, you will actually understand what I'm trying to put in. XRP and Ripple is like gold in your hand. Now, this tweet is actually from King Solomon. Shout out to him. And, in this case, I don't have any doubt about that. I really don't have any doubt about that. Because if you look at this, you can understand similar systems are actually active in countries like China or Kenya. Now, yes, those are not big, giant markets, but what you have to understand is in case of some financial crisis coming up, you can actually look at systems being implemented similar to this in other countries, and you need interoperability. And what do you actually think will provide that? This is another tweet from the King Solomon itself, and if you directly jump into the matter which we want to look, you can actually see the interoperable adapters there, right? R3 is a giant one, Ripple is big, but what asset runs through the Interledger protocol or the ILP? It's XRP, right? So what can be done to avoid a recession or to reduce its impact, or at least give it a try? Now, you really have to dig deep into that. Here you can see that, as we stated in the initial time, central banks are edging closer to a central bank digital currencies or a CBDC, and they need something to bridge between the CBDCs, right? So they need a digital assets and they need clear regulation. And recently you can see South Korea, India, Japan, Bangladesh, all countries in Asia are coming out stating they are going to give clear regulations. Now, why I'm pointing towards Ripple digging deep into Asia? You just have to listen to this.
Where Western civilization already seems to be possibly collapsing, even with the market going up all the time. Often when you do have a financial calamity, you get huge turmoil in the political system. What happens politically if that happens?
Well, that's why I moved to Asia. My children speak Mandarin because of what's coming.
So you have to understand what is coming, because this was stated in 2017 and now it's 2020. You guys, be prepared, be vigilant, because you actually have to understand definitely a lot of things. But yeah, at the end of the day, you can actually just go in and state, like, for example, these are just news or fundamentals, but what about the price action, right? You can actually ask that. What about the charts? Now, yes, don't worry, I have actually prepared the framework for that. Now I'm working on this, and I will soon finish this presentation about the chart and the price fluctuation and present it to you guys. Because before presenting this to you guys, I have to actually go through a plethora of possibilities, because I have to analyze it in detail before presenting it to you guys. Like, it can be like this, or it can be like this, or even it can be like this. So we don't know what odds are there. We have to actually go through all of that, right? So I need a bit more time, but don't worry, it won't be too late. I'll update you guys as soon as possible. If you received any kind of value from this video, please don't forget to obliterate the subscribe button and click or hit that like button. I'll meet you guys on the next one. Bye for now.